Hello and welcome back to another episode of How to Hero. This episode we are going to be tackling the Sunflower. The Sunflower is a dedicated healer of the plant side, and don't worry, we are almost done with the RNG of Plant Fever. Without further ado, let's jump into the abilities and other stats. The Sunflower has base 110 health. I think that was actually buffed from 100%, and has as a primary the Sun Pulse, a 50 shot fully automatic weapon that deals anywhere between 9 or 10s, just anywhere between 8 and 10 damage depending where on the body you hit. It's unaffected by damage drop off. It deals the same damage at pretty much every distance. Now, abilities is where things get interesting. Is remember, the Sunflower is strictly a healer, despite having one of the best weapons in the entire game. Don't know how, don't know why. However, to showcase a lot of the abilities, I'm gonna need a loyal test subject. The L1 is the heal pulse. This is a pretty simple thing. You attach the beam to your patient, and you heal 2 health a tick. Pretty effective, and it's pretty useful. It can save people in some situations. Now for the next one, I'm going to need to take a little bit of a beating to showcase. So I will... Now, this will do. The R1 spawns a heal pot. The heal pot heals you, it shoots out little sunbeams, and it can be killed, and you can also heal it using your heal beam, like I've demonstrated. Your triangle is the sunbeam. 100 shots, 12 damage, it's a giant screw you to anything stupid enough to get in your way. This is affected by drop-off, apparently. However, a trait I've yet to mention with rooted characters is, because this is the first rooted character, is damage resistance. You gain massive amounts of damage resistance while you are fighting, or while you are in your sunbeam, which makes it harder to kill you while you're rooted. You still die in one hit to ZPGs. That is the selling point. So don't think that you can use a ZPG to avoid. You can root to avoid a ZPG. Also, a trait that I am yet to mention is you can deal with the annoyances and nuances with the sunbeam damage drop off by just continuously aiming for the head. As per most weapons, headshots deal the most damage. To wrap it up, because there's a lot to go over here, you can heal people that have been rooted in the ground, and your shots your shots do pretty good damage. You can heal multiple people at the same time, and you can also heal someone that is healing you. With all of that out the way, let's move into some games, and I can showcase. Or before we move into games, I need to show you abilities and ultimate abilities. As the Sunflower is one of the originals, there is guaranteed to be 3 other abilities I have to cover. This is the first time I can actually do this. I have one of the Garden Warfare 1 abilities. So, an ult for the heal beam is the Rainbow Heal Beam. It's the same as the heal beam, but it's rainbow coloured. It might heal faster, I don't know. The ult for the Sunbeam is the Solar Flare Beam. It's basically the Death Star laser. And there are 2 ults for the Heal Flower. The Rainbow Heal Flower and the Dark Flower. Dark Flower is for a more combat-heavy Sunflower. Now the variants. For the variants of the Sunflower are the Mystic Flower, Alien Flower, Vampire Flower, Stuffy Flower, Fire Flower, Power Flower, There are a lot. Metal Petal, hang on. Let me pull up my trusty Gardenmorphia wiki. Right. Now, so we have the Sunflower, the Mystic Flower, as I mentioned earlier, the Power Flower, the Fire Flower, the Shadow Flower, the Metal Petal, the Sun Pharaoh, the Alien Flower, Vampire Flower, and Stuffy Flower. So there's some pretty good ones. And let me just double check I didn't miss anything. Yeah. So that's that. I will be using the Rainbow Heal Beam instead of the normal Heal Beam. It's exactly the same as the Heal Beam, just a recolor. Let's quickly check what's in Rux to see if I want to save for anything or if I just want to save for a spec. Ooh, the Mood Shield. That would have been better if I'd done it earlier. I think I might say that. I think I might get... Why do I have 56 coins? God damn. Let's start on Herbal Assault. I can showcase with one character. Because... Not a Torchwood. Yeah. Imps. Why can't they give me a, like a class-specific tip? Because a tip for the Sunflower would be great to showcase. Now, the Sunflower in particular is a good all-rounder. She's not terrible at one thing. Her damage is good. Her fire rate's good. And she's a pretty good reload time of around 2 seconds. However, when I get into the variants later on, you will soon learn that I do not like Sunflower variants very much. I'll do that when I get all of the variants. For all of it, when I get all the variants for a character, I will do the specific all variants, and they're going to be a lot longer and harder for me to edit together. Now, strategies. Don't never stop moving. Stopping moving as a Sunflower will be your downfall. Keep your healer alive and you won't have to worry about what I'm doing, and that's dying. Now, I haven't showcased this yet, but I'm about to since I'm playing the healer. The designated healers, so the Scientist and the Sunflower, have unique traits to encourage people to play them more supportively. No one ever does. Because, what's the point in that? And I hopefully can showcase it here if they don't go into respawn. You revive much faster than normal, and you revive them back to full health. So, yeah. That's fun. And unloading tag team. And heal your fellow healers. The only way for a Sunflower to heal without using a second Sunflower is to stop moving and put down a heal pot. Which is not the most reliable method. Pull back. If you can make a move, do it. However, keeping other teammates alive is always a pretty top priority. Well, it kind of depends on how you want to play Sunflower. Sunflower has one of the better DPSs of characters. It is a bit iffy occasionally with damage. That's just how it normally is. And tag teams will very quickly end you. So play passive. Don't be afraid to run away and hide. Especially you, since you have the lowest health of any of the plant characters when getting into gunfights. I actually think the Vampire Flower has the lowest health of any character. See, I would have died by that impunt if it went for the rooted trait. However, yeah, you can't survive everything while rooted. However, if you want to play really you have the fastest default movement speed of any plant when playing Sunflower. Play back, play passive, use your speed to book it out of fights you don't want to get involved in. Let's discuss counters. Don't get into a fight. Generally, you don't want to be getting into a gunfight. Every class in the entire game can outgun you and will kick your tail all the way back to your spawn if you aren't careful. So, get help. Note who's down and where in most fights. Because you'll be always outgunned in a one-on-one gunfight, make the most of your situation and try to do things unpredictable. You can root, and if you do not fire a shot, your ability will not go into cooldown. Make the most of this and play passively. Go into root, but not shoot, and if you notice someone making a move to your position, pull back and wait. If it won't result in your immediate death, getting into a massive group of down teammates and rezzing them is the best thing you can do. If there are other Sunflowers on your team, pay attention to how good they are. If they're playing extremely passively, then watch yourself. As you might be the one that the team falls back on. A good Sunflower will be pretty much always up in someone's face dealing damage. Just because you are the designated healer does not mean you have to hide behind someone to do damage. I akin Sunflower to that of like the medic from TF2. With the Blutsaga, the medic can really do a lot of damage. Alright, yeah, Turbo Twister. And I will cover all the variants of characters when I get all spec packs, which is my utmost priority so I can get the videos out. Oh, I'm getting three-wayed. That is a bad spot to root. Mech down. You taunt. That was a bad time to taunt, mate. Oh man, I pity. Sorry, mate. Ow. Something that you don't out DPS are bots. Not the AI that I'm fighting against because I don't have PlayStation Plus. No, 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 no. I mean, the builder bots that you can find on the points in Turf Takeover. You can't bots generally won't outgun you because you're not the AI. But oh god, Sunflower really. Sunflower has a very high skill gap, and a lot of this you will see me respawning. Although a lot of Sunflower mains, because I used to be one, I quite commonly had the belief that if you weren't healing your team, you were doing something wrong. This is not necessarily true. See? You even get outgunned by imps. In my opinion, if you're not healing someone, you're not doing anything wrong. Just pay attention to the health bars. The one benefit you get when playing heal is that you can see the health of your team. This can help you make pretty rough decisions or plays that you normally wouldn't. It can help with split-second decision making, like who to revive in the heat of combat, or where to throw down your heal pot. Sometimes you will just be thrown in a bad situation with terrible odds. The deciding factor, the deciding factio in these fights will be how many people are on the point at any given time. If you are outnumbered and you're a designated support, do not try and take down as many people with you, and instead focus on reviving teammates so that you can start gunning people down. While there may be no I in team, there is an I in victory. And while falling back might be the best idea on paper, keeping your team alive is even more better. Sunflowers can be one of the fastest classes to get to master rank, because reviving plants gives you XP. Trust me, I know. But I would like to say that sunflowers can be aggravating to play. Because you're the designated healer, you will be picked on relentlessly. Make sure no one's get into a place where no one can get you from one direction, and you have the watch of the other direction, and then play the flank. Again, you don't outgun most people on a one-to-one fight, but who said we had to be outgunning people? Sunflowers are notorious for building up assists. Harass the enemy. Harass your enemy. Know your enemy. If the enemy is staging a massive push against you, drop back and get some support from your team. Fuck. Just because the bots aren't doing much damage doesn't mean you don't take them down. Always kill any bots in the area. While bot exterminator doesn't get you any points in the long game, short-term benefits can be massive. Also, bully the All-Stars. All-Stars and Super Brains are an obvious big counter, as the high HP and high DPS can spell life or death. So, just simply don't get near them. While in the clips here, yes I am getting, well in the game here, yes I'm getting very close to both an All-Star and a Super Brains. It's to get team support. Again, one-on-one fights are where you struggle. So simply don't get into any one-on-one fights. Revive your teammates and your fights are no longer one-on-one. They're now 2, 3 or even 4-on-1. Or get them in the back while they're running. Most of the 200 HP classes don't have the abilities to react to someone flanking from behind. I mean, Sprint Tackle on the All-Star, Heroic Kick. Shake things up. Play. Once someone knows you're there, just take a different route. Don't fall into the trap of the same routes. Get behind teammates. Abuse the power of there will be more than 6 people at any given time. Play the long game. And harass. Again, your ability will not enter cooldown if you do not shoot. If you know you're in a bad spot, do not shoot and your ability will not enter cooldown. So begins the great game of the hunt. Well, yes, everything I've said earlier makes you want to be the ultimate support. Most, if not all, of the sunflower variants allow you to really get up in someone's grill. And on big enemies like the Z-Mech, you can just completely decimate some teams just by knowing the enemy. Instead of playing the game like a really fast-paced shooter, for some, just play the long game. Get into use the map shortcuts to get into positions where you wouldn't be able to normally. In the end, turf takeover is always objective based. So don't think that because you're not getting kills, you're doing a bad job. If you're playing the objective, then you're not doing anything wrong. That's how you do it. All right. So, all in all, not a bad game. Again, if you can't play the game, just revive. Now, instead of doing a normal mode, I'm gonna be switching things up and showcasing how your character plays on the defense. Again, it's very cut and broad. But sunflowers can fill some pretty good roles when playing with teams that aren't just sunflowers. Oh, slow down, Mr. Shrimp, we'll get there. Again, defending bases is like the healer's job. However, it's much easier to do with the sunflower than with most healers. Thanks to the sunflower having, you know, that. Generally, if you can force a zombie into having to throw up defenses against you, you're not doing anything wrong. Do pay attention to what's going on where. If you can harass something to the point where they have to move away from a situation, then you're not doing anything wrong. But do keep an eye on what's storming the benches. While the opening base may feel like the Vietnam trenches, it's not always gonna be like this. It's just bad luck that on this game it was. Reflexes are going to be necessary to play some of the characters coming up. If you're going for kills, going for kills is always never a bad idea. Because zombies will tend to spawn at the base that they just took, harassing zombies so that they can't progress is not a bad thing. But again, you're going to be overwhelmed if you try to do it with a sunflower real fast. So don't. Just fall back. Defending some points are just easier to defend than others. And it's a combination of bad designs, bottlenecks, and just the map in general. Very rarely do you see people take the final point in maps such as Seeds of Time and Great White North. And that's just because of how the map was designed. Mini suburbanation on the Great White North to free the Yeti King was not a good idea. And Seeds of Time having a really iffy design, having an iffy mechanic at best. Now, that. When you're rooted somewhere that people can shoot back, or watch the way you went in. Granted, yes, you will be very unlikely to be harassed. But if something knows where you are, you will get harassed. If you have to unroot in a pinch to provide support to the base, do it. A lot of foot soldier and engineer players will often be leading the front lines, and don't be afraid to throw down your heal pot to support your team. The proper heal order should probably be something I should discuss. Generally, heal the classes with higher HP, they take longer to get to full health. The big exception to the rule is other healers. Other healers are a big priority, as if you're the only healer left, then it becomes harder for you to do your job. So, if you've just gotten into a rooted position, if you've just rooted up, and then when you unroot, everything's dead, maybe then it ain't such a good idea. Focusing on the classes with higher HP is generally the way to go. Obviously, the main priority of healing something is the Torchwood. Torchwoods generally have a very long wait behind cover until they can get to the point where they're ready to get into a fight again. Stick close and heal them. Like I said in the Torchwood episode, if you're pocketing a Torchwood, you are definitely going to get into fights. But, mate, you have a Torchwood at your back. If you lose any fight against the Torchwood, what are you doing wrong? Or if you lose any fight and you have a Torchwood on your side, what are you doing wrong? Interestingly, Korn has the tools to survive on his own 2 legs. So they're generally not a big problem. Pea shooters and chompers. Both parties don't really have a way to get out of fights quickly. Well, Hyper on the pea shooter and Burrow on the chomper, but the problem is that they suffer from pretty big problems. And those problems are HP decline. Health regeneration upgrades are generally not run. So, of course, they're going to be pretty difficult to... It's going to be difficult to find a character that's willing to take a couple hits. It's just how it is. Citrons definitely heal if you get the opportunity. Citrons are very needy. Citrons are very needy of their ability of HP, as they generally don't really suffer. As they suffer the long-term negative effects. They suffer long-term if Citrons aren't healed. However, of course, if there's a class on lower health that is pulling more weight than the Citron, definitely prioritize that first. Other sunflowers are a big priority of healing. Roses. Roses have a pretty big get out of jail free card. 2 of them. Goatify and Arcane Enigma. I'll touch on it further, I'll touch on it more once we get to the Rose episode. But roses, while not relied upon, are also a bona fide support. So, play the long game with them. Because of Rose's interesting weapons and abilities, Rose can reliably get herself out of fights alive. Not always, but sometimes Rose can carry an entire fight. Fights on points are chaotic. Play a Sunflower for a little bit and you'll see what I mean. Keeping your team alive is going to be a big priority. However, outside of fights, the order is down the health list. Sunflowers have top priority as they're already the healer. However, when in a gunfight, find someone, attach the heal beam to them, and hope for the best. Like the tips say, a Sunflower healing a Citron or Chomper can make a powerful close quarters duo. However, that also reigns true with pea shooters. Keep your snipers healed. Cacti can be a pretty big effect. And of course, when someone goes down, try your hardest to get them up. Especially in fights where you could die at any moment. Now, I've spent so long discussing what hard counters the Sunflower, let's discuss what the Sunflower can counter. Same 1-2 story, the Sunflower counters the Imp pretty well. Most classes counter the Imp if the Imp isn't left to his own devices. However, interestingly enough, hover goats. A lot of hover goats suffer at the hands of Sunflowers because Sunflowers have a bigger ammo cap and can out DPS the hover goat most of the time. Scientists, it's iffy. Most scientists have the means to do damage at afar. However, a Sunflower will almost always win a healer fight. Yeah. The ability to throw down something in a fight is a little interesting, and if the scientist doesn't have the heal bomb or the heal station up, in which case he's probably playing a support scientist, you will be able to beat him in a fight. The Sunbeam is a giant middle finger to anything in your path. However, zombie stink clouds will be a massive detriment to you staying in one place for too long. To play the unexpected, prioritize the foot soldiers. Foot soldiers work the absolute greatest if they aren't the biggest priority. Also, watch for when a soldier enters ZPG position and get out of the way. A good ZPG, well, more better off ZPGs in general, are generally pretty hard to detect coming, but if you can predict it coming, deal with it. Although it isn't the highest on my recommended list, keep potted plants alive. Might be useful in a pinch. However, the biggest thing to keep alive is the healing bots. Healing bots are the way that the team keeps alive if you're out of the fight. Sometimes, keeping them alive is a bigger priority than keeping the other teammates alive. Of course, don't really do that. And last up, well, just like I said earlier, Sunbeam. It's a pretty big counter. But even more so, sunflowers on points are annoying to get rid of if they're in the right position. Learn the maps, know the positions. Well, thank you for watching another episode of How to Hero. Give me a quick moment, you can check the stats while I pull up what the next character is going to be. Oh, get in the bin! The next character you're going to be dealing with is, ironically enough, the Rose. I spent a bit of time talking about the Rose, and so you're going to get to see you're going to get to see the Rose at it again. Thank you for watching, stay idiotic, and I will see you later. Ta-ta!